Hi, everybody. Thank you for joining us today. What I'm going to be presenting today is Microsoft 365 Copilot. It's a very, very popular tool by Microsoft and one that many organizations, businesses, individuals, charities, trusts are asking questions about. So I'm really happy to be able to present it to you today. It's an interactive session, so on your screen you will see a Q&A. Please ask questions along the way. I really do need to keep to schedule though, so if we're short on time, we'll ask more questions at the end. And if you want to hang about, we'll answer those towards the end. If we're a little bit ahead of schedule, then we'll squeeze some questions in along the way. But we really do want you to get the most out of the session, and really there are no daft questions. So once you ask a question, it tends to open the floodgates, and then people will ask more. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to give you a quick introduction to iTex, tell you a little bit about who we are, just really quickly, and then I'm going to go into Copilot and show you how we use it here every day, all day, every day at iTex. So work smarter with Microsoft 365 Copilot. It's a tremendous tool. It really does allow you to work much more efficiently, much smarter every day in your job. Here at iTex, just to give you a little bit about who we are a family-owned independent business. We're not investor-backed, anything like that. We're family-owned and we've been established since 1997. So we've been around the block a few times. In fact, when I first started out in IT, it was pretty much when AOL came out and each office maybe had one PC in the corner and internet access was shared on that one computer. I probably had a fax machine and things like that, right the way through to today, where we're talking about AI. We work with small, medium and large enterprise businesses, schools, colleges, academies, charities as well. Our smallest customer is probably about 5 or 6 users, and our largest is probably around 6,000 users around the globe. Our bread and butter, though, is that kind of 5 to 30, 40, 50, up to 100 kind of users type business and organization. We're a tier 1 Microsoft partner, and that is really advantageous. We work really hard to achieve that. And what that allows us is insight into tools like Microsoft Copilot, and gives us insight into the future. So co-work, which is coming out and things like that. And when we design and run webinars such as this, we've got our eye on the future. So when we pave a roadmap for you and your organizations, then we can do it with one eye on the future and guide you in the right direction. So there's 2 versions of Copilot, and this often leads to confusion. So I wanted to clarify it right at the beginning. There's a free version that comes with Windows. That's called Copilot Chat, and there's Microsoft 365 Copilot, which is the paid version. Today, we're going to be talking about the paid version that integrates within Microsoft 365, and I'll tell you the differences shortly. Microsoft Copilot is underpinned by a tool called Work IQ. It's a tremendous tool that takes signals from everything that you do every day. So your email, Teams, how you use Excel, how you use PowerPoint, your OneNote, everything that you do, and it takes signals from that to give context. So when you ask a question of Copilot, it gives you, it tailors it and dials it into something that's specific to you. So if you ask a question of Copilot and your colleague, for example, asks the same question, it might give you both different results depending on how you use your PCs every day, how you interact with tools and technologies. So everything in Copilot is underpinned by Work IQ. A very common question that we get asked, so I wanted to bring it up right at the beginning. It respects permission boundaries and security and compliance. So if you have access to things on SharePoint, in Teams, on your computer system right now, then that is what Copilot will work with and surface. So if you ask a question, then all it does is bring back information that you have permission to access. So for example, if you're in the sales team, the data is ring fenced around the sales and things that the sales have access to. If you ask a question against payroll or finance, you don't have permission, then Copilot will not surface those results. So use AI like a pro. What I would like to do today is give you a demo of Microsoft 365 Copilot. And at the end, I'll give you 2 tips on how to use AI, whether that's Copilot, Gemini, Claude, whatever tools you use, but more specifically Copilot, how to use it like the top 1% of AI users. So if you stay tuned, I will show you those 2 tips right at the end. So what I'm going to do now is dive into Copilot. If you just bear with me a second, I'll share my screen. So Jordan, you should be able to see Copilot now. Can you see that okay?
Yep, all good.
Okay. So what this is here is Copilot. Now, this is what often leads to confusion. So again, I just want to clarify. When you start up Microsoft Windows, you have got an icon here, if it's a newer build of Windows, for Copilot. And out of the box, that is the free version of Copilot that comes bundled into Windows. What I have here, however, is the paid version of Copilot. So if I go into it, the way that I can tell the difference is that at the bottom left here, it says M365 Copilot, which is Microsoft 365, and it says Premium. Now, once you've got this version, which is the paid licensed version, you will see a work tab here. Now, the difference between the free version and the paid version is that the free version only works on the web. So it's looking out to the internet for the information that you type. So if you type a prompt here, this box here, by the way, and what information you type here, this is your prompt. So if you're looking at AI and you're learning about AI, quite often you'll hear the term prompt, and this is your prompt here. So with the web, which is the free version, whatever you type in here, tell me about Copilot Studio. This is looking out onto the internet for those results. It's very much like a Google search, although it gives you much more than that. So that's telling me about Microsoft Copilot Studio. The paid version, however, which is what we're going to be talking about today, it looks into your company data. So whatever you have stored on your in your organization, this will look into that data to surface results. So here at iTex, I can type in things like how many days holiday am I entitled to? And what this will do is it will look at our work policies, our contracts of employment, things like that. All obviously only what I have permission to. So I've got access to my own contract of employment, but the work policies, the holiday policies, the annual leave, things like that. That is where this is going to look into right now. So what that will do in a second, and it always takes longer, by the way, when I'm on a webinar. If I was doing this in real life, it would have given me these results right now. So it's looking at all our policies. If you have less than 2 years, you get 31 days. After 2 years, you get 33. And what this is really good for, what this is really useful for, is it brings what quite often what is stagnant data to life. So often you will have procedures, plans, things like that that are in your organization that don't get referred to, that don't get used, but it's important information. And what Copilot allows you to do is to tap into that and bring it to life and show you the results here. What are ITEC's core values? This is really good for employee onboarding. When somebody new joins your organization, your company, your school, whatever, then they instantly from day one have access to all the information that anybody else does in your any of your colleagues do. So customer first, exceeds expectations, things like that. So just to demonstrate what are ITEC's core values, if I did that on the web, it will surface different results. And this really is what gives the paid version the advantage. So this is taking this from our website now. Yeah, much more limited. We need to work on our website a little bit, I guess. But so this gives us context, and it is massively advantageous because it takes your work style using the IQ tools. It takes your company data. It takes the terminology, the things that you type in here to give you those results. And what Jordan and I started doing with Microsoft Copilot 365 Copilot about 2 years ago when we first got our hands on it. We actually got our hands on it before it was publicly available through our Microsoft partnership. And we started using this much like we did a Google search, with typing Google searches effectively in here. But every day that we use it and you learn and understand what Copilot can do, what we type in here now is much, much more long-winded. We can put documents in here, contracts, our business plan is in here. And the more you feed this every day, the more that you feed it, and that happens naturally, the more value it gives you back as a user. You can also do things on here like create imagery, create an image of and this is really useful because when you do things like presentations, obviously you're not going to use polar bear. Well, you might do, but when you are doing presentations, quite often you need to go and get relevant imagery, and that's either by producing it, photographing it, or extensive Google searches, but you have to be careful that that image is not copyrighted to find fitting imagery. With this, what you can do is create images exactly as you need them. That'll take a second though, so I'm going to come back to this. So this icon here, again, just to reiterate, is Microsoft Copilot. And this is the most common way we use it here at iTex. But what you'll find as well is Copilot is embedded within the other tools that you use. So here within Microsoft Teams, I'm logged on as a fictitious user here, by the way, Luke Skywalker, and we use this for demonstration purposes. But here, and I guess this is I would imagine this is a platform that you are mostly all familiar with. And within Microsoft Teams, here down on the left, again, you've got Copilot. So this is just another way to interface with Copilot. And on here, our teams here at iTex are really busy. Really, really busy. I've got a team here called Introduction to Teams. We've got company teams, we've got training, we've got help desk, we've got projects, and they are really, really active. If your teams uses yourselves, or if you Slack maybe, you'll know that the information on there goes at such a pace, it's difficult to keep up. So on Copilot, what you can do, so just to go back there, this is a team called Introduction to Teams. What I can do in Copilot, for example, tell me the latest on Introduction to Teams. And what that will do is it'll go back into that team, read what's been happening and summarize it to me and present that information back to me in a really quick and easy readable format. So it's giving me an overview there. Again, this team, by the way, is just used for demonstrative purposes, for this illustration. So it's not actually a live data. So some of the information you sort of think is out of date. It's because we don't really use it every day, but that's giving me a lot of insight now as to things that have been happening. So if you work in a projects department, for example, or sales, and you want a quick recap, so you're coming on a Monday morning, what's happened last week, you can do a quick recap on here, and it summarizes everything. Previously, what we found ourselves doing was scrolling back, reading, particularly when our name was mentioned or our department was mentioned, you do the reading and you catch up. This does that instantly for you. Now, Copilot in Microsoft Teams is amazing. It's really, really good. And it can give you tremendous gains in terms of productivity. So what Jordan and I do, and the sales team, the projects, the help desk, everybody, when we do a Teams meeting, the meeting is captured in Copilot. So the meeting is transcribed, the video is recorded, and we are giving summaries and actions. So just to show you, we did a meeting on the 16th of Feb. Yeah, and the meeting was with Frankie. And what we've got here after the meeting, so probably about 30 to 40 minutes, if that, after the meeting, you'll get a recap. So if I click on recap, it will show me the video. So I've got me on the left and Frankie on the right. And Frankie wanted to know the difference between the free version of Copilot and the paid version. So we've got an AI summary here. So it's summarized, probably a 30-minute, 20 to 30-minute long meeting within a few paragraphs. Here I've got transcript. So it's telling me line for line everything that was said. So hi Frankie, hi Luke, and all the entire conversation is recorded. What I can also do is if something was mentioned and I want to go back to that point, I click on that and it will take me back to that point in the video. This is really, really useful because I can now use this data, this transcript here, and the AI summary when using other Microsoft tools. So for example, I would follow up with an email to Frankie after the meeting. And traditionally what I would do is on my keyboard, I will be speaking to Frankie. You can see here just at the very bottom of the camera, my arms are kind of in front of me on the desk. Previously, I would have been typing away and capturing things that Frankie says and things that are important to him, the keywords and phrases he might use, particularly if it's a sales. He might sort of say, I'm concerned about security. I want to talk about productivity, and I will be typing away during the meeting. I'm quite a quick typer, but still, it takes your mind off the meeting just a little bit. If you're a slower typer, you're not going to capture all those important key points. With this, though, we can just stay relaxed, knowing full well that the transcript is being produced. It's very, very accurate, even with Yorkshire accents such as mine. Any accent, anything, if you're speaking a little bit unclearly, it takes context and you'll find it's very accurate in the words that it records. So I'm going to come back to this transcript here and this AI summary a little bit further in the presentation. So let me just go back to this. So it's just it's not a very good image. You can give this a lot of prompts. You can adjust the background. You can make it like a lifelike photograph. You can add icons and imagery if it's your own icon, for example. And you can add a great deal of detail and produce exactly what you need on here. So This is Copilot here. This is Copilot within Teams. Now, another way we use Copilot every day is within Microsoft Outlook. So what I'm going to do is take you through Outlook, and then I'm going to stop and ask Jordan if you've got any questions. So please feel free to ask questions and I will answer those. If they are pertinent, though, to your particular organization, then what we can do is jump off afterwards and have a one-to-one conversation. But generally speaking, please ask questions and Jordan will read them out shortly. So if your inbox is like mine, after this webinar, you'll get off in 30, 40 minutes, something like that, and you'll have loads of unread email. It's a constant flow. So we've got a read email there. We've got all our unread email here. Interestingly, just so you know, all this email is completely fictitious. They are fictitious people, fictitious content, email bodies, everything. And for this presentation, I asked Copilot to produce 200 random emails containing email chains around technology and Microsoft 365, and it produced these for me. And then I uploaded them into Outlook. It's just an example of the types of things that you can use Copilot for, is generate content on the fly. It's amazing, really. It took this probably about 20 seconds, something like that, and then I had a file to upload. So these are fictitious, apart from this one and the few examples on here, which I'll come back to in a few seconds. But your inbox is going to look something similar to this, I would imagine. So what I can do in Copilot, when I go back, sit back down at my desk, is say, which unread emails should I respond? So this will look at my unread emails and prioritize them and tell me which I should respond to first. Now I've got at least one urgent email in here. So it's telling me I need to respond to this one first. I can click on it. It will show me the email. Now, quite often as well, I will get copied in on emails at a late stage. So you'll see this email has been going on for quite a while. So Alex, so from Jordan Ellis to Jordan, and Alex is included. What I used to do, because Jordan is with us this morning, what he might do sometimes, just as an example, is he will get an email from a customer, he will respond, customer will respond, he might involve somebody else, and there might be 5, 6, 7, 8 emails in the chain, and then he will forward it to me and say, Dean, what are your thoughts on this? And I've got no context, I don't know what any of it's about, apart from the email subjects, which is this. So what I used to do is go down to the bottom, read the last email in the chain first, and then go up and up and up and up, just to gain that understanding. But what you can do in Copilot is click on summary, and that would read the entire email chain and give me a summary here. So that's probably saved me 5, 6, 7, 8 minutes, something like that, depending on how quick I can read and the length of that. So what I can now do is click reply. And now that I've got an understanding of that email chain, and if I click here, I can compose without, I can open with Copilot, and I can put write a response to email, something like that. Yeah, it's read the email, it's understood it, and it's giving me a response. I can keep it, or I can make it longer, I can make it shorter, I can change the tone. So I've got direct, casual. If it's somebody I've got a working relationship with, I've been dealing with customers for many, many years. We ask how each other's families are you going on holiday this year? I would make that more casual. If it's a solicitor, if it's somebody that I've only just began dealing with, I wouldn't be casual. I'll be a little bit more formal. If it's a solicitor, it might be direct, something like that. But generally speaking, what I would do here, because what this can do is sometimes dehumanize things a little bit, although Copilot, after a period of time, will start and learn and understand your writing style and give you words that look like very similar to what you have written them. What I would do is write the email myself. Hi all. And then what I would do is select that email. Thanks for your email. My thoughts. So imagine there's 3 or 4 or 5 lines there, or a couple of paragraphs. I would then select it and then rewrite. So it's using my words and what I want to say, but putting it in a professional way. Makes me sound much more intelligent than what I actually am sometimes. And sometimes you can't quite find the words, particularly if it's something sensitive or something like that, or you wanted a quick response. This will help, and it will just produce replies very, very quickly. Here as well, again, we've got all these emails here, and we will get asked, for example, what's the latest with a given project, or what's the latest with a given company or organization. So there is a company in here called AdventureWorks, a made-up company. So instead of searching for AdventureWorks here, like I would have done in the past, I will type in here, tell me about, or tell me the latest one. And that'll go read all this email and give me the latest on AdventureWorks. So if it's a project, then it might span over 20 or 30 emails, all gone to different people at different times. I can get a thread and an update on the project by spanning across all those emails all in one go. So I've got weekly notes, I've got Teams meetings, I've got SharePoint, I've got Copilot stuff here, older but notable. This is really useful as well if you're meeting with a client that you haven't seen for a while. It can surface information that you might have forgotten about, or there could be things on here that are the top of your priority list, and it will build you an agenda. So you need to talk about this, this, and this, and don't forget about that. Saves lots and lots of time, particularly if you've got a busy mailbox like what we have. Now, going back to the Teams meeting, I'm just going to show you this last thing, and then I'm going to invite a few questions. Going back to this Teams meeting that I had with Frankie here. After the sales meeting, what we like to do is thank the customer for their time and for the meeting. And again, traditionally, what we used to do is during the meeting, we'd be typing away like mad, capturing all those details. And then after the meeting, it would have taken a short amount of time to format and compose and put that into an eligible format. And so you can write a response to the customer or the person that you've met with. And 30 minutes later, an hour later, or if you're busy towards the end of the day, you would have that done, and then you can respond to the customer. What you can do in here, if I go into Outlook and start new email, I can write emails to that customer about that meeting. If I type forward slash, it's referencing something inside your organization. So make this a little bit bigger. So I've got expense budgets, things I've been working on here. If I click on meetings, There we go, Copilot. Now, it didn't bring that up because I did this meeting a few weeks ago. If that was today or yesterday, that will be at the top of the list. Likewise, if I've got a meeting coming up to today, maybe at 1 o'clock, it would bring that up here as well. So I can type emails and prepare meetings and agendas for things that are upcoming. But here I can select that, and I've said, produce me an email about the meeting that I've just had. And it will take the words in the transcript, it will take the AI follow-up, and it will put all that in here. Just while it produces that, Jordan, do we have any questions, please?
Yeah, we've got quite a few questions, to be fair. So we've got one in from Alex, just asking, if I don't have the premium paid version of Copilot, can I still use it in Outlook the way you have demonstrated?
Yeah, somewhat. So this is the email that is produced here. So you couldn't do what I've just done here using the free version, because what the paid version doing is looking inside things that exist within the company, and this meeting is one of them. So it's produced me a follow-up to Frankie here. Something, what's the restart? I'm going to restart Outlook in a second. But it's produced a response here using content that exists in the organization. The free version, you still have this chat button here, will help you compose an email that's on the screen. So if you've got something on the screen, then it will help you with what you are looking at right there and then. That is the free version. Or you can pull information from the web. You can't pull information from inside your organization. So it does give you some functionality. It will help you compose and write an email, restructure an email, things like that. But it won't pull information regarding data that exists in your organization like this just has. Anything else, Jordan?
Yeah, there is from Kathy, just saying, so if working in the Microsoft 365 version, all info we do is private and not taken to the web/free version. Is that right?
Just say that again, sorry.
A question from Kathy, just asking if they're working in the free version or the paid version, what is the difference in regards to the data that's held in Microsoft 365 for that the company?
So, right, the reason AI tools are free, so there's free versions of pretty much most or all of the AI tools. They are free because they are learning and they are training. So if you upload data information to those tools, for example, you might have a way that you produce something, you might have ingredients, you might have patents, designs, you might have things like that. Then when you're putting that into the free version, if you said, help me improve this recipe, for example, what the free version might do is use that recipe that you've uploaded for its own learning. So that might surface elsewhere when other people around the globe are using the same AI tools. So that is AI learning. What the paid version does, though, is remains ring-fenced within your organization. So there are privacy and security policies within the paid version to ensure that data remains private and secure. So if you're doing general research, the free version is okay. If you're putting in sensitive information about people, about your organization, methodology, things like that, then I would use the paid version. Yeah.
Fantastic. Yeah, there's quite a few. Let's get on this. Can you use Google Calendar and Gmail with Copilot?
No, if it's Google, that will be Gemini.
Fantastic. A question from Lee. Can third-party applications be used in conjunction with Microsoft 365 Copilot?
Yes. However, there is a tool called Copilot Studio. If it's a third-party CRM, ERP system, database, then you can use Copilot Studio to embed what they call API keys. I'm not going to get technical, so don't worry. But there's a link between Copilot and third-party software. Copilot Studio, though, does require development for that to work, and can sometimes get expensive. It really depends on what's needed. Perhaps we'll take that offline, Jordan, and have a chat later.
Yeah, that's fine. Another good question from Lee. Can Copilot help produce sales quotes if linked to company app that is not Microsoft?
Yeah, again, if you've got a CRM system or a tool to produce quotes and stuff like that, then you can link that potentially. We need to know what that tool is to Copilot and surface that information to produce quotes and stuff like that. Yes, you can. Is that it, Jordan? Anything else?
Yeah, there's quite a few, but I'll let you carry on presenting because there's some might be answered along the way, and then we can always go back to this after.
So I've got Word open now, and again, top right, I've got the Copilot chat. The Copilot button you will see across the Microsoft Office suite. And what I'm going to do now, I've had the meeting with Frankie, if you remember, on Teams. Now, Frankie was a potential a prospect, a potential customer. So I've had the meeting. We've discussed the requirements. He's captured the detail in the transcript and what have you. I've emailed him, thanked him for the meeting. So now what I'm going to do in Word is produce a proposal. So what I would do here, a recommendation would be if you have a quote or a proposal template, that would be a starting point here. So you would have your logo, you might have an introduction to the company, which has already been written, and the format. I'm starting from scratch. And so what I want to do first is write an introduction. ITEX. Give me a recap of meeting. So again, what I'm going to do here is /, which means look inside my organization. Is it any of these? Is it these Word documents I've been working on? I can pull files and folders. It's the meeting. So again, it's an old meeting. So so I'm just going to let it do that while
Whilst you're doing that, Dean, you want to ask a couple more questions? Is that all right?
Please, mate. Yeah.
One from Joe just saying, does the company content have to be stored on OneDrive for Copilot to access it? We have the paid version, but still use a server currently for file storage.
That's a really good question. I'm glad it's being asked. So yes, the data does need to be within Microsoft 365 for it to be leveraged and used by Copilot. So if it's server data, that would be in SharePoint. If it's personal data, like your drive, your My Documents, whatever, that will be in OneDrive. So the data needs to be taken from your local on-premise network and put into Microsoft 365. It's something that we've actually done quite a lot of for companies to allow them to use cloud services more easily and to integrate everything. So what I've done here, I've just put a link to the meeting. Provide summary of meeting and write recommendations. And give 365 Copilot. So what it's going to do is take that transcript from that meeting, give me all the words I want to summarize it, and then give me some recommendations at the end. So while that's doing that, Joe, there's another question.
Yep, one in from William. How can Copilot improve company strategy, governance, and budgeting, etc., please?
How can it improve it? It can add consistency, company strategy. So if you've got like a business plan, something like that, or methodology, something like that, then I'm going to come back onto this actually. But
we can go to another question then if you want.
You can use the planning and methodology and whatever Word documents, PDFs, and things like that to use as a reference point. And this is an example of this would be the sales team. With we might have what I asked right at the beginning, what are ITEC's core values and things. You can build a way to like a role. You can build a way to surface that information so it's consistent every time, and it uses a company introduction. It'll give you things like the values and propositions and all these sorts of things, and it will do that consistently. So regardless of who's asking the question within your organization, it will always follow that format. They're called guide rails, really, and you can do that for different aspects of the business. So yeah, is there anything else, Jordan?
Yeah, one from Mark. Will Microsoft Copilot work as well with meetings held over Zoom? I use an iMac with Outlook for Mac. Will this work as well, please?
Zoom, I don't believe so. There might be a plugin. There are plugins for various third-party apps. Do you know what I'm going to do?
We'll have a look as well on offline for that as well, Mark, just to double check, and I'll come back to you.
With Zoom. This is just a good example of how we use Copilot for meeting. Is there any more questions, Jordan? And after this, I'm going to go into
one from Tracy. Do you need to have the paid version to work within Copilot for Word? I don't seem to have the icon, but do have Copilot 365.
Okay, so the free version will have this icon here. The paid version will also have this icon. The difference is when you click on the icon, this is the same within any Office suite, any Office, Excel, PowerPoint, Word, whatever. When you click on it, the paid version will have the work icon here. Now, the free version will allow you to write a Word document. It will give you content, help you restructure and format your wording and your paragraphs, your grammar and things like that. The work version, though, will pull information from your SharePoint, your Teams, your OneDrive, like it has done with this meeting I had with Frankie. It summarized the meeting here and give me some things here. So the free version will work in Word. The free version will work in all your Office products. The paid version leverages data in your organization. If you don't have this icon here, then I would recommend running an update on your installation, because it should be there. If you're on Microsoft 365, but you don't pay for Copilot, it should be visible there. But we can take that offline, Jordan, and help.
Fantastic. A question from Darren. If there are any tasks that are picked up in meetings or inside emails that are for you, is there a way for these tasks to be created for you with timeframes and the responsible people, etc.?
Yeah. So if you had a meeting in Teams or in our boardroom, for example, we have what you call the Teams rooms, and you've got microphones. You can record that meeting, and if I said, right, Jordan, can you get back to company by end of day, and they need A, B, and C, and Andrew, they need D, E, and F. because you're saying that verbally, and those people are in the meeting, it will produce a to-do list and action points. And if you say by the end of the day, the end of the week, then it will give you those timelines as well. Anything else,
Fantastic.
Jordan?
And then, yeah, just the one from Teresa. How do I incorporate my apprenticeship learning with company/department projects to help me structure my writing, please?
Okay, so as an apprentice, you would need to obviously check your permission rights within that company. So if you're in accounts or in finance, or if you're in whatever department you're in, then you would need access to that data on your computer. And so long as you have that, then this will surface information from that department. So when you do / here, again, looking in on company data, you can search for files and folders that you have access to help you with your writing. Yeah.
Fantastic. Yeah, that's great. That's it for now. Thank you.
Right. So for some meetings, when we have them with clients on Teams, we will need to go and present to them using PowerPoint. So we can use our meeting that we've had to produce PowerPoint presentations. So what this will do is it will not only give you the wording. If you did this for a haulage company or a manufacturing or accountancy, or it might be a charity, it might be a government department, something like that, police, something like that, HMRC, whatever, then it will produce you relevant imagery, contextually relevant imagery as well. Give me imagery as well, and produce PowerPoint slides for haulage company. So this can sometimes take a short while to do. So what I'm going to do while I wait for that is go into Excel. Now, this here I've produced using, it's all in dollars. I've produced it in Excel. It was one of the templates. But again, I've got the Copilot icon here. And I can use Excel. I am rubbish at Excel, by the way. I can add a column up using the app, sum, whatever. I can add and do very simple formulas. But if I was presented with a spreadsheet like this, quite often, and Jordan's the same, and most of the sales team's the same, and everybody apart from the finance who know about Excel. And what happens is I would go, for example, ask accounts, can you summarize this? Can you explain these figures here to me? I need to get a better understanding of it. Why is this figure lower than this figure? Why have we done better this month than last month? And that's taking my time. And it's also taking the person in finance, it's taking their time as well. But what you can do in here, so marketing, I've got marketing costs here, for example. So visualize marketing costs, or give me a summary of data in this spreadsheet. Now, the free version will do this because it's using the data that's on the screen. The paid version might back this up with other data that exists in your organization. So, for example, it might be able to add context to marketing. And this is something that when we use Copilot, it kind of blows us away a little bit, because sometimes you sort of think, how does it know some of the information that it finds? So we might have had a meeting, just as an example, last week with the marketing team. And we might sort of said, right, we need a new website. We want to improve social media. We might want to do pay-per-click on Google. And what it will do is, if this month was higher because we'd done PPC on Google, or might have done Facebook ads, something like that, then what the paid version will do is give context. So I'll say these months are higher, and it'll reference that meeting, and you've spoke about PPC, you spoke about LinkedIn ads and things like that. So it will use company data. Spreadsheet. It would summarize and pull company data to give me context of what's happening on here, rather than just sort of saying these months are higher than this, you've had a good month here, a bad month there, those sorts of things. It's producing the slides here for this. Okay. So it's producing me slides here on PowerPoint. It's going to surface me information here. It's gathering data here. That also takes a short while. What I'm going to do is show you, and I'm going quickly, and I want to show you the pro tips. I've got a couple of tips how you can really leverage AI and get the absolute most from it. But we use agents here at iTex, and agents are a fundamental part of Copilot and AI. So what we have done here is built two agents. We've got a HR agent and a legal advisor. The legal advisor, what we would do with this is upload contracts. So if we have a contract from a supplier, it might be for software, services, whatever, we would upload that to here, and it will tell us all the things that we have to look out for. So terms, minimum spends, things like that. So I'm going to upload a contract I have downloaded here. I've got a partner agreement. Now, quite often with partner agreements, there are things like minimum terms, minimum spends, summarize agreement. Also, are there any minimum or contract terms? And what that will do, it will go off and read that contract and bring everything back. Much like I've given that agreement to a solicitor or a legal department, they've read it and digested it. I've then asked them questions. So it's telling me it's a non-exclusive reseller agreement. There's no minimum spend, no minimum seat commitment, no sales targets. So we're not getting ourselves on the hook for anything. And I can speak to this much like I would do a human and ask it all those ins and outs, all those legal terms and things like that. On the agent here, it is backed by guide rails that we've put in. You can build these as well using, if you was to subscribe to Copilot, it's giving instructions here. So look at UK law, grievance handling, workforce advisory support, all these sorts of things. So it's always up to date with UK law. Likewise, the legal advisor is always up to date with employment law. If there's a grievance in your company, something like that, if there's a disciplinary, ask it the questions on here. It will look at your company policies, your contracts of employment, and UK law, and give you an accurate summary on here. So it is giving me summaries here, but it's taking a little bit longer. It's going to take me beyond our allotted time. So what I'd like to do now is just give you a couple of quick tips on using AI, and then we'll go to final questions, if that's okay. So what I would ask, I hope you found what I've showed you so far useful, and you can take this away and begin to use it at work. But there are a couple of things that you can do to really enhance your experience with AI. So with Copilot, or if you're using another tool like Gemini or Claude or something like that, there are a couple of things that you can do to really, really maximize your output from these tools. What I'd ask though is if you find these tips beneficial, and if you think to yourself, I find these useful, I can use these tools, these tips today to enhance my experience using AI, then please just give, what we'd really, really appreciate is a quick Google review. So in the chat, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a link to our Google reviews here. If you find what I'm about to tell you useful, please do. It really would mean a lot to us to give us a quick review on Google. Just a 5 stars would be absolutely ideal. If you're able to put a few words, even better. But what enables us to do is when we invite more people along to see things like this, helps more and more and more people get the most from these tools and technologies. So the first recommendation is to develop a master prompt. If you've heard of this already, great. A lot of people haven't though, and that is a master prompt. Now, a master prompt gives Copilot or your AI tool much, much, much greater context of what you're trying to surface from it. So as a salesperson, as a government officer, as a school teacher, as an MD, as a business owner, finance accountant, whatever role you're in, you need to tell the AI tool that you're using. You do it via what you call a master prompt. So for me, for example, I'm in IT consultancy. I've been doing it for 28 years. I work in Microsoft technologies. And you need to tell it everything, your job role, how long you've been there, your challenges, what you're trying to achieve, what you're trying to do, what you see the next 2 or 3 years looking like, the types of people you deal with, your colleagues. It sounds like a lot, and it is a lot. And the more you put into Copilot, as an example, the more that you will get from it, and the more contextually aware and dialed down the results would be. Now, a really quick and easy way to do this is to say to, you can use voice, and I actually did this in my car. So when I'm driving home, I'll say create master prompt, or I will say update master prompt, which is what I do next. I've already created it. So what you will say, you'll pair Copilot on your phone with your car, just as an example, or you can do it in the office with a headset. And what you'll say to Copilot is interview me and ask me all the questions you need to build a complete master prompt for me at work. So then what it will do, it will speak to you and it will interview you. It will call you by your name and say, what is your job? How long you've been doing it? What are your challenges? And it will probably take about 15 to 20 minutes, and it will build a master prompt for you. Then once that's finished, you type anything in here, it gives you much greater context, and it really is dialed down, and it's amazing. And then just as another tip on back of that one, what you can then do is download. So you can type into here, download my master prompt as PDF. I'm not going to do it here now, but it will download a PDF document of everything you've told it. So if you do that on Copilot, but you also use Gemini, just as an example, or Claude, you can then upload that PDF into other AI tools. So your master prompt is spread across all of them. You can also update it. So quite frequently, I might change business focus a little bit, and I'll say update master prompt, interview me, get new questions. It'll say, what do you want to talk about? We're now looking at marketing. We're now looking at building the sales team, and it will allow me to add to the master prompt. So the master prompt is tip number 1. Now, tip number 2. You're all here today, you're looking at Copilot, you're learning. And I would imagine a lot of you listen to audiobooks in the car. I do every day. So if I'm looking at marketing, I'm looking at sales, building pipeline, business methodology, whatever, I'll listen to audiobooks. But what you can do with Copilot, again, if you put it on your phone, and you pair it with the Bluetooth on your car, what I will do on a journey, speak to it in the car, and you will say something like, so for me, do deep research on marketing for IT support services into manufacturing companies, as an example. Read it back to me in the style of a book, and I've got 27 minutes, something like that. And then what it'll do after about 30 seconds, it'll say chapter 1, and it'll read back to you what is surfaced as in the style of a book, and tell you exactly what it is that you're trying to learn. So, for example, we've installed, or we're utilizing a new sales tool here at iTex. I want to learn all about it. I want to know the ins and outs and gotchas and how to use it best and everything. So what I'll say to Copilot is, tell me about this tool, read it back, do deep research, read it back to me in the style of a book. I've got 12 minutes, and it'll tell me everything I need to know in those 12 minutes. So the second tip is to do deep research and read that back to you to enable your learning on more specific and precise subjects. So those are the 2 tips. If you found them useful, please do give us a review. I've put a link on the chat. But before we depart, is there any quick last questions, Jordan, please?
Yeah, there's quite a lot in all fairness, but a lot of these are pretty specific to themselves. So I think the best thing to do, Dean, is me and you will go through them all, and then I will get back to everybody today with the questions and the answers.
Wonderful. Thank you, everybody, for joining us today. I hope you found it useful. I hope you can take something away from it, and have a lovely rest of the day. Thank you very much.